everyone, Leslie Rogowski here for the Beadsmith with another Facebook Live. Today we're going to show you how to make my Navette beaded beads. They look like little drums to me. Haha, there we go. They kind of remind me of like bongos or something like that. Nice and easy to make. I am going to make one from start to finish. Now, a couple things about this Facebook Live today. It features the Navette beads in what I call the spice colors because they are named after spices. So we have 6 of these great herbal colors. We have, let's see, chili. This is ginger. We have cardamom, which is this beautiful green with coppery highlights. Then we have caraway, beautiful ivory. The gold color is curry, and the blue color is sage. Welcome everyone who's watching. You can see that at the top of the chat window, you can see that the link to the free PDF is posted, and you can click and go right there and get it. Now, I love beaded beads. Those of you who follow me and know me could be beaded bead lovers too. And one of the fun things is you just get to make a bunch of them. And you can put them together any way you want. You can see I used all different colors here. And my project featured in the tutorial is a necklace. So I'm going to talk to you about materials. And in addition to making the beaded beads, if you want to make the necklace as shown, and this will be in the tutorial, I like to string on waxed cord, wax linen, because it makes a nice knot. I used, along with the beaded bead materials, I used Matubo 2 O's, 2 aughts, and I strung everything on, knotted on the wax cord. They knot nicely around a clasp. This is my necklace. You can make it as long as you'd like. All right, let's get right to it. Here we go. Okay, for this project, you are going to need, of course, Navettes. I've already pre-strung. You need 4 Navettes per bead, per beaded bead. You're going to need 8 4mm rounds. Now I've used rounds, Drux. You can also use any other 4mm, say fire polish or pearl, something like that. Matubo size 6s or other size 6 beads. Then you'll need size 8 seed beads, 2 colors of 11s. I have matte black and a rainbow frosted cardinal red color. For the bead, I'm going to make this beaded bead right here, right in front of your eyes. I'm using a size 10, 2 actually size 10 beading needles, 6-pound fire line, and I have my thread snips here. You can also use a thread zap. All right, let's get started. Hi everybody, welcome. So you're going to start with about 1.5 yards of fire line, and you're going to string, you're going to put your needle on, and you're going to string a Navette and a 4mm 4 times, leaving a long tail, 12 to 15 inches. You're going to use that when you create the bead for the other end. So the first thing you're going to do is string these beads. You're going to sew through them again and form a circle and knot your working thread to the long tail. So I'm sewing back through them. Remember to check all multi-hole beads before you use them to make sure all the holes are clear, because it's really annoying when you sew a bead in and then have to go through one of the subsequent holes and you can't get through. All right, so I have pulled my thread, my working thread through. And remember, I have the long tail. I'm knotting the tail to my working thread. Here we go. And I want to say thanks in advance to my partner, Crime at the Beadsmith, Leslie Pope, who I believe is watching and monitoring this demo. So there you go. This is going to be figure 1 in the project. The next thing we do is to add the red seed beads that are around the top. So you always want to sew away from the knot when you're stepping up. So I'm going to sew through the next navette after I've made the knot. And you just want to keep the long tail sort of coming away. You don't want that to get caught in. I have it, you can see I have it between my fingers and I'm holding the piece like this to work. So I'm coming out of the navette. Now I'm going to string 5 11s and sew through the hole in the next navette. Now I'm choosing, we have A and B, so I'm going to make red my color A and B my color B. And the color B 11s are the ones that you'll see in between the 6s around the top and bottom. So let's string 5 11A, 1 2 3 4 5, and you're going to skip the 4 millimeter and go through the next navette. Whoops, my thread got caught. There we go. So you can see how the seed beads, the 11s, sort of stick up over the 4 millimeters, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. All the way. I had to turn my air conditioner off today because it was very noisy. So things are going to start to stick to my fingers soon. All right, so 5 11A through the next navette. I'm keeping that other long tail thread out of the way. I'm going to work all the way around. And just as a tip, like when I'm working with a pile of beads like that, you can see how I spread them out so I have easier access to the holes of the beads. One thing you also want to do when you're working on any tutorial is try to hold your beadwork oriented the way the designer has illustrated them or photographed them. That's always good so you don't lose where you are. Okay, so I'm around the next, sewing through the next navette. That's the first one that I exited. Get through that stitched hole. Now the knot's over there. You want to be careful not to pierce it. So can you see where I'm coming through the navette? Ah, my needle came off. All right, time to show you my needle trick. Needle threading. Flatten the end. Hold it like a poppy seed. Bring the eye of the needle to the thread so it has no place to go but through the eye. There you go. Let's pick up those 511A again. I told you, things are sticking to my fingers already. Okay, go through the first navette exited. That stitched hole. There you go. Do I have 5 on there? Yes. So you have 4 sets of 5 11s. Now we're going to reverse direction, and I've been going around like this, counterclockwise. For me, I'm going to sew back through the middle hole of the navette that I just exited. Okay. Now we're going to start to make this dimensional. And we're going to bring the 4 navettes up together like this. So the tips come together. And you're going to want to bring these, here we go. You're going to want to bring these up over the 4 millimeters. Right, now we're going to finish that end of it with the tail thread. The tail is coming out where those 4 millimeters are, so we're going to just keep that in our fingers and bring the tips together. Now you can see where my thread's coming out the middle here. We're going to pick up 8s and put an 8 in between each of the Navettes, sewing through the middle holes. So I'm going to pick up an 8 and go through the next middle hole of the Navette, and we're going to start to pull the shape into being. You can see how it's important that I've checked these holes beforehand, because otherwise I'd have done all that work, not that much, but I've done that work, and I wouldn't be able to get through. So I'm going to pick up another 8, go through the middle hole, working around the little drum shape. Pick up an 8. Hi, everybody who is joining us. Okay, now in the instructions, it says to sew through this path again. You're going to sew through all the 8s and Navettes again. And just for time's sake and expediency, I'm not going to do it. Yes, you can absolutely tell by looking at the diagrams how to do this. I have nice big diagrams. Okay, so I have exited the first Navette that I've done in this round. And we're going to reverse direction again. So I've been going around this way. And now I'm going to reverse direction and go the other way by sewing through the open tip end of the Navette that I just exited. Here we go. Now I'm going to add 4 millimeters around this side. I'll move them into view. Where's my 4th one? It ran away. And again, these are just 4 millimeter matte black Drux. You can use fire polish or pearls. Round seems to work the best, fitting into the nice little concavity of the Navettes as you string your 4 millimeters and go through the next tip Navette hole. And it's forming that nice cylindrical shape. It's very fun to see this become 3-dimensional. All right, there's the 3rd bead. I don't see any questions yet. Okay, you have the link to the project. Now you would go around again, but like I said, just for time saving, now I'm going to repeat adding those red seed beads to this side, and I'm going to exit. I'm exiting the Navette tip. I'm going to pick up 5, skip the 4 millimeter, and go through the next Navette. And this time we're going to finish up the end with this thread. So my tail thread, my long tail thread, is still between my fingers, out of the way, coming out the first side of the bead. So I have 5, 11A, those are the red ones for me, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around my evolving beaded bead. You really get fast when you're doing these too, and it's so much fun to play with different color combinations. I'm a fan of the spice colors myself. I like that organic look, but that's come in lots of other colors. And what if you put 4 millimeter crystals in there or pearls? These are very earthy looking beaded beads, but think about if you made one that was sparkly. I think I did one that was sparkly. Of course, I can't find it at the moment, but it can be very fancy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more 11A. And this time, I'm going to sew through the first Navette, and I'm going to come out the first 3 11s. So out of the 5 that are on the end here, I'm actually going to come out of the one that's in the middle. you see how that's coming out there? Excellent. All right, now I'm going to work with my Matubo 6s. I'm going to string one, and I'm going to go through that middle 11 in the next set, the third one. 1, 2, 3. Oh, looks like I only have 4 11 strung. Oh well. Pretend there's 5 there. It's the same principle. Then I'm going to pick up another 6, go through the middle 11, skipping all the other beads in between. So I'm going to add 4 of these. See how they're sitting nicely there. Go through the third one out of the 5. And one more time. Go through the third one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, as I was developing this, I decided I needed to put the size 11s in between these 6s because otherwise I thought when I string it, the thread is not going to have enough of a constriction there. The aperture has to be tighter. So now I'm going to pick up my 11s in the other color. Color B is my matte black. And I'm going to string the B and go through the 6. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around. String the B and go through the 6. String the other color B. You notice I'm not going through the red 11s. I'm just going through the 6s to pull them tight. And now I'm going to go through those all again. Just the 11B and the 6s that I just sewed through. And we're going to do this. You are going to do this a couple times. I'm only going to do it this once to show you that we are finished this end. And we're going to weave this thread back into the piece after you go around a couple times to make sure that's nice and firm. I like to take my needle under the existing thread and make a half hitch to secure it. And then you can weave it back into the piece. I'm actually going to go from one of my 6s down into the bead itself to really make sure that that thread is secure. And I'm going to trim that thread off. Let's string a needle on our tail and finish up the other side. Look, we're almost finished. Remember, pull it like a poppy seed, bring the needle to the thread. It has no place else to go. There you go. All right, so everything is symmetrical here. I'm coming out of the top of the navette. Now I'm going to add the 6s, so I want to go through to exit the third 11 at the top. Julie's asking, could these be made with super duos? I'm sure they could, with some variations perhaps in the tension and the number of 11s. Go for it. I'd love to see what you're going to make. One of the fun things about doing a design like this is there are lots of ways that you can do it. So you can see that I've come out of the third size 11A, picked up a 6. I'm going to go through the next third 11A, picked up a 6, same thing, all the way around, whoops, until we have 4 6s strung around to bring this side of it to a close. Okay, and I actually went all the way through and through the 6. Now I'm going to pick up those black 11s, color B, and I'm just going to go through the 6s, pick up the 11B through the 6, pick up an 11B through the 6. We're going to make this aperture nice and snug. You're going to go around through the 11s and the 6s several times until it's secure. Then bring your needle under an existing thread and take your needle through that loop to make a half hitch. Sew back into the bead. And if you come out through the 6 and the black 11, then you're right in position to go into those red 11s down further into the beaded bead. And you can make more half hitches and secure your thread. For expedience sake, I am just going to do that. And exit. There you go. And that's all there is to it. Now just make a bunch. Make a bunch in different colors. The pattern is available. Let's see. I'm going to show you in case you are interested. These are my illustrations. Nice, big, different colors. The red dot shows you where the thread path starts. The arrow shows you the direction. They get a little dimensional. I have a couple views here for you. But between the text and the illustrations, I would think that you would be able to make your own handful of Navette beaded beads to make a bracelet or a necklace or earrings, whatever you like. So how's that for a July 21st Facebook Live? From me, Leslie Rogalski, Creative Director for the Beadsmith. Remember, you can sign up for I Love Beads, where this pattern is going to live now forever and ever, and find all kinds of other patterns. You can find Navette beads and seed beads and other fabulous Beadsmith beads tools and quality supplies like the snips and the thread zap from your favorite bead reseller. So show them some love, and remember, we love beads. See ya!